Are you the type of person where you act so goofy and happy in front of everyone else, but when everyone else goes home and you're in your bed alone, you cry and wish you were dead? And when someone kind of notices that you're not okay and they ask you about it, you either lie and say, "Yeah, I'm okay." Because realistically, what else are they going to do if you say that you're not okay? Or you break down and cry in front of them because you've been feeling like shit for the past year and that minor interaction caused you to collapse. And then they try to give you a hug and they give you that depression treatment where they're like, "Oh, is everything okay? I'm here for you. Do you want to talk about it?" Which honestly makes the whole situation worse. I don't want you to continue dealing with this pain. So here is the two-step method on how I managed to like my existence, where I went from being in therapy to now smiling 24/7. And I know it's weird to say like the two-step method to get you to like your life, but it's honestly what you need right now because you literally fake your happiness towards everyone around you when in reality you wish you were dead. And I've helped a bunch of other people who are in your exact same situation get out of this miserable cycle using this exact same plan that I'm going to tell you in this video. Step number 1 is to make a comeback. The only reason why you feel so shit, the only reason why you want to die so badly is because you end every single day in an absolute failure. Every single day, you always end up gooning for 3 hours straight. You always end up going for an 8-hour gaming marathon, grinding for XP or mats for a game that you know you will probably quit in the next few years, waste time all day and not do the bare minimum. And then you have to wake up the next day consciously knowing that you are a failure, consciously knowing that you don't deserve to live, you don't deserve to eat, you don't deserve to exist, and now you want to kill yourself, and now you want to die, and now you want to get hit by a car. So instead of letting that cycle of failure, that spiral of failure continue, break that cycle by taking every piece of hatred you have for yourself for your whole life and use it to do all of that hard work that you were procrastinating on. Do it all in the span of like 1 or 2 hours before you go to sleep. Even if it's like 2 a.m. and you have to go to sleep because you have work the next day. You already fucked up your life. You already fucked up your day by binge watching 100 episodes of Black Clover. So it doesn't matter if you stay up for another hour because you probably would have spent that same hour scrolling on YouTube Shorts. So take this feeling of failure, take this feeling of disappointment in yourself and your existence, and break the cycle of failure by doing everything you wish you did. You always hated how you look. You always vomited at the sight of yourself in the mirror. Drop down and do a fucking shitty ass workout in the middle of the night. Do you hate the fact that you're broke as shit and you have no money in your account? Get up right now from your bed. Use all of that emotion in your head as energy to just start a little business. You always hated your skin. Use all of that suicidal emotion to throw away all of the shitty food in your fridge and maybe even meal prep before you go to sleep. Like, use all of that shitty emotion you feel at the end of your day where you have that 2 a.m. clarity where you realize, fuck, I hate my life, I want to die. Use that to break the cycle. It doesn't even have to be like perfect. It doesn't have to be. The idea is to make a comeback, to break the cycle of failure, to break the cycle of spiraling down into insanity. So now, because you're making this comeback after a massive failure where you have all of these emotions that can be transferred into motivation, it's not actually hard for you to start those things. Even if normally you don't have the energy to continue with these good habits, I'll get to that later in this video. What matters is that you break that cycle of failure. You break that rut. You break that depressive loop. But figuring out how to do all of these comeback methods, maybe you don't even know what to do, or you don't know how to exactly do those actions that would break the cycle, might be where you get stuck on this. That's why I can physically do everything you need to do to break that cycle with you. So there's no chance of failure and 100% chance you do the actions right the first time. So you actually break out of that cycle in the first try, which means you become better, not feel better. You actually improve the quality of your life at an exponentially fast rate. I've done it before with so many of my clients in 2 weeks. If you want me to do those comeback actions with you and get you to a point where you actually like yourself, just DM me on Discord and I can do the same for you. The next part of our plan, step 2 of this plan, after you made that comeback, is to solidify this new change that you did so you don't just burn out and fail again. Normally, you reinforce this change that you did by sticking to the good habits that you started, but because you're mentally ill, no offense, it's incredibly hard to do that without the motivation that you got from feeling like shit after a generational failure, which is what we did in the comeback, by the way. So instead of that, just do nothing. When you do nothing, so for example, as soon as you wake up staring at a wall, not even getting out of bed, just like lying there and straight up just staring at a wall, you're preventing yourself from going back to being a failure, from going back to the automatic actions that's always led you to relapsing. By setting the intention that for this day, for today, you will literally not do anything, not turn on your computer, not eat, not watch YouTube, not even power on your phone. You just get out of bed as soon as you wake up and just stare at a wall. You don't do the automatic bad habits that don't seem bad at first, but would have led you to relapsing. So for example, it's 2 a.m., you made the comeback, absolutely locked in, and you actually kind of feel proud of yourself because you finally did something with your life. Now, when you wake up, I guarantee you will not be able to stick to this new change that you did. And you probably know that from experience because every single day is like kind of an up, kind of going up, and then everything crashes down. Prevent that by getting out of bed the next day after the comeback and just staring at a wall, because you break the cycle of what you would normally do, and what you normally do always leads you to that cycle of failure. Normally, when you wake up, you brush your teeth, you go on your phone, and you might realize this or you might not, but you probably go on like YouTube Shorts, you probably check Instagram, you probably check your notifications, which no one messages you because no one likes you. But every minor action that you do, every automatic action that you do always led you to relapsing. So break it by literally just doing nothing. And because the last thing that you did was the comeback the night before at like 2 a.m., that is what is going to be solidified in your head. So break that cycle of failure by not doing those automatic actions. Instead, as soon as you wake up the next day after the comeback, just stare at a wall, question all your life's choices, and let the most recent actions solidify in your head. Break the cycle of relapsing, break the cycle of feeling like shit, break the depressive, suicidal cycle in your life by just making a comeback, then the next day staring at a wall, solidifying that in your head. And now that you've broken the cycle, you can actually stick to being productive. You can actually stick to improving yourself. You can actually stick to making progress towards the things that you actually want in your life. You can actually make progress towards your physique. You can actually make progress towards making money online. So then you could quit your shitty ass job, which makes you want to kill yourself. You can actually make progress towards improving your skin health. With this 2-step method, you break the cycle of failure. You break that depressive spiral that always leads you to the option of suicide. And now that you've broken it, you don't have to fake this happiness towards others, because then you would actually be proud of yourself now that you've stopped relapsing all the time, now that you stopped failing all the time. And then you actually like your life because your life is meaningful now. You're getting something done with your life because you're not binging 8 hours of anime anymore. You're not getting wasted on alcohol alone in your room anymore. At that point, once you've broken the cycle, life gets fun. But if you're coming up with some excuse like, well, I'm on SSRIs, so I can't really get the motivation to make a comeback. It's hard for me to break the cycle. I can't do nothing. I have ADHD. Go watch this video that I made where I go really in depth in step 2 of this plan.